Hi everyone, I'm making this video to clarify some confusion that has been presented regarding the homework and which problems I want you to complete. So let's just quickly go over what the expectation is in terms of how you make your way through the course in Canvas. So this is the home page for our course. I'm in the student view now. Notice up here that the most recent 3 announcements will always appear. Make sure you're reading these. These should be sent to your email directly. I would suggest opening them as soon as you receive them so you don't have to go back and backtrack. If you don't have time to do that, just make sure that when you log on to Canvas that you check the most recent announcements. I'm finding that I'm repeating a lot of the information that I'm posting generally to everybody individually in emails, and as you can imagine, that takes quite a bit of time. So the purpose of the announcements is to communicate information to everyone all at once. So please read all of those announcements when they are received, and at minimum go through them when you log in to the course in Canvas. So here I want to point out that these introductory videos are not optional. They are part of the course curriculum. I've selected videos to help you get an overview, a quick overview of the content that we are covering in each chapter. And I find that presenting material produced by someone else helps you understand it a little bit better. Sometimes we need to be presented information in various modes for it to sink in. So these are purposeful and a required component of the course curriculum. So down here at the bottom, I want you to click on Begin the Chapter. I find that some students are just going directly to the assignments and completing the learning checks, the chapter quizzes, and the homework. And by doing so, you are omitting the majority of the course curriculum. So that is not the appropriate way in which you should complete an online course. So make sure that you are following the structure that I've provided, which includes first visiting the home page for each chapter, and in this case the learning objectives and their to-do list, and then select Next. This is the appropriate way to make your way through the course. And so each section has a lecture, and I'm finding that as I'm going through the homework, it's becoming evident for a handful of students, not the majority of you, but for a handful that are completing homework problems in a manner that I have not modeled is a bit of a signal to me that you're not taking the time to look at the lecture videos. So your homework should look very similar to what I present the lecture videos and the solution videos. When it deviates from that, then again, that's a red flag to me that perhaps you're not watching the lecture videos that are a required component of your attendance for this class. And students that did raise red flags received comments on their homework assignments. So as you make your way through, then through these lecture videos, you'll then come to the learning check assignments. And just a note about due dates. So everything has a due date. I've been pretty flexible in terms of accepting late work. As of now, or as of today, that will change. I've included close dates or available until dates for all homework and chapter quiz assignments. However, the learning check quizzes, I am and will continue to be flexible simply because they don't require that I manually grade them or review them. So those can be submitted late, but I warn you that completing them late kind of inhibits your ability to progress through the material. These learning check quizzes help assess your understanding of those sections. We're chunking the information to smaller components so that you're not overwhelmed with a lot of new concepts and equations and terminology at once. We break it down into smaller components that are more digestible. So again, I will continue to accept these late. However, I don't recommend that you complete them late, but nonetheless, there's some flexibility there. So as we make our way through, once we've completed a quiz, let me get down here. We move on to more lecture material, and then we're taken to more learning check quizzes. Again, this is the ideal way to progress through the modules. Now the homework. These are the instructions, and here it says complete the assigned homework problems. This link will take you to the document of problems that have been assigned. If you click on this page icon, that document will open within Canvas. And you can review the problems. These are for Chapter 3. If for any reason you're not seeing the notation, these documents were created using the most recent version of Word. So it's a Docs document. If you don't see that, I would suggest that you save the document to your computer and then open it using Word. These were created using the equation function and to allow accessibility for students with disabilities. So they were created in a manner where they could be read by a screen reader. So here you can view them, but the more appropriate way to approach the homework is to open the document. So if you click on this link, download it to your computer and then open it using Word, then this is the document that you will be working with. I have been suggesting to students the ideal format is to create some space for your work. So I would prefer to see the problem and your solution all at once versus just you turning your work. It's easier for me to check it when I have the problem and the solution all on one document. So I've been suggesting to students in the comment that go ahead and download the document, create extra space to allow for your work. So once you've created that extra spacing, then you print it out and then you can handwrite your solutions on the document and then scan it and upload it into the assignment in Canvas. Okay, so again, create enough space. Don't try to shove your answers on the side or in between. It just is very difficult to read. And as you notice here, I didn't provide much space, but you're going to need quite a bit of space so that you can show your work. And as the assignments indicate, you are responsible for checking all of your work. And to do so, you can utilize Appendix C of the 8th edition. There you'll find the answers to these problems. But remember that the homework you must submit needs to include all of your work. Even if it's a very simple calculation of an addition or subtraction or multiplication, you still have to show all of your steps. So you can check your final answers using Appendix C of the 8th edition, or you can check the process by which you arrive at the correct answer using my solution videos. Those of you who have the 9th edition, you'll have to rely on the videos because your Appendix C will have the solutions for a different set of problems. Nonetheless, here I've broken the videos down by problem. You can fast forward to the solutions to check your work. In other words, no one should be turning in any homework that has inaccurate results or solutions. If you complete the work, you check your answers, find that some things are not accurate, you would just go ahead and on your document, on your document, let me pull that back up. Let's say we got number 7 incorrect. Wherever your solution appears, perhaps in a different colored ink, you can write the correction next to it. So I want to see that process of you tried it, you recognize you got the answer incorrect, and then you went through the process of correcting your answers, and you can then demonstrate the steps of your learning process. That's what matters to me, is to see the progression more so than just submitting all the correct answers. So a student did do that in their last homework assignment, which I thought was brilliant. They solved the problem, they checked their answer, and then they wrote a little note to me indicating that the solutions in blue were the corrected solutions. So that was wonderful for them to illustrate that process of recognizing they tried it, they got it incorrect, and now they saw the solution and have corrected their answers. Okay, so you're responsible for checking your work and submitting corrections. So I have a lot of students submitting work that is not correct, and there's no reason why it should be submitted with incorrect answers, given the fact that you have access to the correct answers. Now, I've stated that the homework problems are from the 8th edition. It does not mean that you have to have the 8th edition. You can be using the 9th edition. The lecture videos and the homework problems are all from the 8th. The material is the same. The homework problems are just slightly different, but that doesn't prevent you from using the 9th edition. So don't worry about that, and don't feel as though now you have to get the 8th edition. I've created these documents so that we can all be working on the same problems and allowing students some flexibility in what is most financially doable in terms of the book that you purchase. All right, so the solution videos again are presented here. Once you submit your work, I'm grading it using this rubric. Again, notice that I'm not focusing on right and wrong answers unless I see that you are submitting problems with a lot of incorrect solutions. Again, you must check your work, and so I will deduct points or consider that incomplete if you have not taken the steps to check your work and then include the revised solutions. So let me quickly go over some more examples of ideal homework. This is the ideal. This is the perfect illustration of what I prefer. So this student printed out the document that was provided. Before they printed out, they created or produced their solutions, and they used a red marker or red pen to identify which part of this is their solution, so that's helpful. Notice here they've created a trail of how they arrived at certain responses. Very helpful, very clear for me to see their thought process and to understand how they arrived at these final answers. And I just want to point out that as the problems become more complex, using Word will be more difficult. So handwriting your solutions is going to be easier to do than to try to figure that all out in Word. So we'll just progress through here. Here another illustration of the whole solution process. Very nice, very well presented. Here they drew on the document to create their graphs. Again, highlighting what their final answers are, creating graphs, presenting them, answering open-ended questions. Again, showing all of the thought process that goes into constructing their final answer, illustrating the polygons, and then responding to the last question that indicates, do we see a difference between these groups? So that's the ideal. Now here's a student that created a homework just with handwritten responses. This is perfectly fine. It's not what I prefer, but I will accept it as long as it's clear and everything is documented appropriately. And then another illustration is where a student used the document and has entered their responses, again using Word. And again, this will become a little more difficult to do when we get into more complex problems. So handwriting it out is going to be easier than typing out your solutions. All right, so those are the examples. I'll post those along with this announcement. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. But again, as a reminder, check the announcements first and then contact me with any clarifying questions. Thanks, everyone.